Welcome to the second evening of Sunandaji's Bhagavad Gita lecture series. The Vedanta Academy near Mumbai in India runs a 3-year residential course on Vedanta. Before we begin the lecture, here is a short video on the Vedanta Academy.
Nestled in the serene hills of Malavali, India, 108 kilometers from Mumbai, lies a campus which draws seekers of self-development. Founded in 1988 by world-renowned philosopher Swami A. Parthasarathy, the Vedanta Academy is created to develop the whole personality of young individuals through a 3-year residential course. The course curriculum is based on Swami A. Parthasarathy's 65 years of scientific research and writing on Vedanta, India's timeless philosophy on life and living. The program enables you to strengthen your intellect and gain clarity of thinking. With reflection and focused discussions, you find answers to all of life's questions. The intellectual development is accompanied with devotional practices to elevate your mind's emotions. The campus provides you with facilities to discipline your body through yoga, various sporting activities, jogging, and gym. There are also opportunities to engage in service for a higher cause in various areas of your interests. A carefully designed daily schedule nurtures spiritual growth and is supported by the company of like-minded seekers from diverse backgrounds. You can also experience the Vedanta Academy through short visits, corporate leadership programs, customized retreats such as the Vedanta International Retreat for adults and the Next Gen Wisdom Summit for youth. Learn techniques to improve yourself and your relationship with the present-day world, and gain a taste of simple living and higher thinking. The Vedanta Academy is a place to find the ultimate purpose of life and uplift your personality to command success and peace.
This is a pre-recorded lecture series.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. We have seen that there is but one truth, one reality, and that the mission in life is to seek the truth, to realize the truth. This is the mission of every human being, the primary obligation that we have to ourselves. Like we saw yesterday, you're given this opportunity called life for this purpose, to find out who you essentially are. But if you analyze what people are doing in this world, we're not saying look around in the world. Start with yourself. What are you doing in life? What is your purpose in life? So while you believe you have duties and obligations in the world, we seem to forget this primary obligation that we have, which is to understand who we are. And this is something that must occur to all of us, that every human being born into this world, and we did say, apart from all other creatures, a human birth is unique. For this one reason, that no other creature can even imagine anything beyond a routine, regular, mundane existence. Every creature has life. They go through the motions of life. So do human beings. But for all other creatures, for the rest of nature, this is all that they can do. They can't do anything more. It's just going through the mechanics of life, day after day, until they die. So they are born, they live a particular life, and they die. This sums up the life of any other creature. And it's understandable. What else can they do? But in the case of a human, look at the wide variety of choices we have. You could be born in the best of circumstances and not achieve anything in life. In fact, lose everything. You could be born in the worst of circumstances and make something out of your life. Possible. You could be in challenging situations and come out with flying colors. You could have all the support anybody can possibly have and waste your life. This is the choice that human beings have. So there is a huge responsibility, which we don't realize, on every human to make something out of his own life. First of all, hardly a human does something. We also get into a mechanical routine every day. That's why I said, examine your own life. What are you doing? Just satisfied with waking up every morning, doing what you have to do for the day, and retiring every night, and going through this mechanically, unless it is interrupted with maybe a wedding, something joyous, or a tragedy, somebody passed away, or an illness. Unless there are such interruptions, it is the same old mechanical life that we are going through. Why are we reducing ourselves to that level? Because nobody thinks. We simply get into life and just do what everybody else is doing. Watch your elders, watch your relatives, watch your peer groups, watch your neighbors, and live a life. This is how everybody is living. How many of us can stop this routine? We're not saying stop doing what you are doing. Just being satisfied with whatever you're doing. To stop that and start thinking, what am I supposed to achieve in this lifetime? You know, the very simple thing that happens to all but none seems to realize is you come into this world with nothing. You go with nothing. And all your life, you're spending from morning till night, running. Every day of your life, doing so many things. For what? I'm not saying you should not. But you must understand, whatever you do in this world, whatever be your achievements, they are all of a temporary nature. Yes, it has a purpose, but it's not the finality. Yet, the way we live life, we take this world and all the connections that you have developed in this world and all the obligations that you've picked up in this life as a finality. There's nothing more. I just have to take care of my obligations, so-called obligations, nothing more, is what you believe. Yet, there is a far, far more important obligation that you have, blissfully unaware. Now, you may wonder why I'm putting it this way. Because we need to start thinking. Swamiji has written a book. It's called The Fall of the Human Intellect. He's written several books. But if you want to begin this journey of self-discovery, it is a good book to start with because it puts you on track. You've got to start thinking. We all are satisfied with a herd instinct, doing whatever everybody else is doing. That's what we're all satisfied with. But you've got to shake yourself out of that lethargic vision of life and think for yourself. What is it that you can do in this lifetime which makes your life different? Which makes your life worthwhile? All these achievements that you have got is good, but it is of a temporary nature. It has a charm for a while and then it fades away. But that which will stay with you, that which you will carry even when you go, the only thing that you can take is either your knowledge or your ignorance, whatever you have spent your time doing in this lifetime. So if you have not bothered to examine what is life all about, you carry that with you. And like the great Shankara tells us in the Bhaja Govindam, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. You will just go through this cycle of birth and death, birth and death. As you sit here, you don't even know how many such cycles you have gone through already. Still not got to a state where you start inquiring, why am I here? Because everybody who is born into this world must go. That is the only guarantee we have. Some of you say, is that what we have come to hear, that we are going to die? I'm not trying to depress you. I'm only trying to make you realistic. This is a fact of life. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to face this truth or not, the fact remains that everybody born has to go. But the question is, what do we take? What stays with us? Is there something that will stay with us, or we lose everything? The only thing that will stay with you is either your knowledge or your ignorance until you reach that ultimate state of perfection, which is the goal of human life. So time and again the scriptures are reminding us, time and again the masters are telling us, you got to understand this mission in life. A young boy who lived with his grandfather up in the mountains used to admire his grandfather because he was a very disciplined human being. And he had this discipline of study every day. And what would he study? He would study the Bhagavad Gita. So the young boy used to emulate his grandfather. Everything he did, the young man would try to emulate, try to do, because he admired this man. And so he tried to study the Bhagavad Gita. And as you all are here, you understand how difficult it is. We are taking 5 days to understand one chapter. There are 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And even as we are studying, there's a struggle to understand what is the Bhagavad Gita trying to tell us. And those who come for the morning class, the Upanishad, we've already heard, Bhagavad Gita is far, far more simple than the Upanishad, which is terse, cryptic, very pointed. See, the Upanishad does not explain. The Upanishad will not compromise. It only talks about the truth. And that is why only a prepared student, a student who is well qualified, can receive that knowledge. Others, it will go above the head. You don't understand what are they trying to say in the Upanishad. And even here in the Bhagavad Gita, which is very diluted, it's like baby food, pre-digested food. Even that you are struggling to digest. So, when you are trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita here, you're finding it difficult. That boy was a young boy. He tried to read and study like his grandfather, but he couldn't understand. So he went up to his grandfather. He said, look, I understand everything else you do. I admire whatever you're doing. I follow it. But this study is something I don't understand. I go on reading it, but nothing enters my head. I feel this is the only part of life that has no meaning. Grandfather didn't answer him. He said, son, can you get me some water from the river? There was a river close by. He said, sure, grandfather. So he went to pick up a bucket, naturally, to bring the water. He said, no. You see that old basket there, which used to, he used to store coal. Up in the mountains, they needed warmth. So he used to store coal in a large basket. He said, that basket, take that basket and get me water. So the boy was wondering. He thought maybe the grandfather, was not really paying attention. He says, you want me to get water in a basket? Yes. Why? Just get it. But how? Just go to the river. I don't understand. Simply do it. Like young people don't understand why these older people say so many things. He also didn't understand. But he went. He was obedient. So he went to the river. He dipped the basket into the river and pulled it out. What do you think will happen? All the water. He went to the grandfather, running to the grandfather. He said, look, it's futile. What are you asking me to do? You are not trying hard enough. He said, okay, whatever you say. And he went right back. This time he dipped it quickly and tried running faster, reaching his home. But all the water had gone again. He says, see, grandfather, I told you, it is futile, it's meaningless. What are you asking me to do? Son, you're not trying hard enough. What do you mean you're not trying hard enough? I'm doing this, you're seeing this. Why are you asking me to do this? Try, keep trying. In the Vedanta treatise, another book written by Swamiji, which gives us the entire philosophy, he says our motto in life should be to strive, to struggle, and not to succeed. That should be our motto in life. Because all the time you're looking for result. Even before you start the action, you're looking for result. Therefore, you don't act. Strive, struggle. Don't worry about succeeding. That should be your motto. So he went right back and dipped that basket in the water and came running back. This time he didn't say anything. That's when the grandfather spoke. He says, you said it is futile. Look at the basket. He looked at the basket. What do you see? Is there a difference between when you started and what it is now? He says, I didn't bring water. That's what you asked me to do. But what else do you see? The only thing I can see is it's a clean basket now. It was dirty when I started. But with every attempt, I went to the river to bring water. The basket became cleaner and cleaner. There was a clean basket here. He says, that's what the Bhagavad Gita will do. You keep reading the Bhagavad Gita, not reading in the sense not chanting and disturbing the neighbors. That's not what he's talking about. To study and understand even a little bit, one thought inspires you if you hold on to that and live it in your life. Whatever inspires you. And keep on doing it. The more you do it, the more you cleanse your system. You don't know it's happening. Time comes when you say cleanse. This is not a cleaning agent. We're not talking about some sort of cleanliness. We're talking about mental agitations. The mind is full of agitations now, worries and anxieties that you can remove with a concerted effort. It's like you are living a life in deep debts. And this state of perfection that we're talking about is like hitting the million mark. Now, when will you reach the millions? You are in deep debts. When are you going to clear the debts? This is your present condition. So when you make a sincere effort with this subject, learn a little bit, put it into practice, meaning live that life, ever so little, but sincerely. I don't know how many of you were there in the morning class. We talked about Shraddha. The Shraddha is that capacity to pursue something until you become it. People have faith in the Bhagavad Gita, but how many people have Shraddha to come here, learn, to pick up some ideas, go back to your lives and live it until you make sure one of few qualities you imbibe completely, you become it? How many of us have that? That is something that will take you through the journey till you reach your goal. So when you function with that Shraddha, then you make it part of yourself. That is the way to remove these agitations. So like removing your debts, you got to start earning and not dissipating what you earn. You got to start learning and not throw it away. So when you start learning these ideas and living it, it is like clearing your debts. You go on clearing. So your point is, I have been following this very sincerely, but I have not yet reached any stage. How can you? Because so far you've only been clearing your debts. Therefore, there is no bank balance still. But you're on the right track. And if you keep on doing it, a time comes when you see a plus in your bank balance. But by the time you get there, you dissipate. You say, no, I tried, it did not work. How can you? Because the backlog is so much. You've got to clear the backlog first. So friends, this discipline, it's not just attending for 5 days. No doubt these few days will give you an idea what this study is all about. But it's up to each one to take it up and make it a daily practice. Just as if you want to be physically fit, you need to exercise every day. How many of us, I'm not going to ask you, but if I were to request each one to stand up, tell us your daily routine. In your life, daily life, how many of your activities are disciplined? Just disciplined. There's no spirituality here. Just to live your life, you need to be disciplined. What time you wake up? What time do you sleep? What do you eat? How much do you eat? These things nobody need tell you. You know exactly what you should do, but how many of us are practicing that? So if you are not conscious of what is happening at the physical level, how can you be conscious of anything beyond that? Forget spirituality. So you need to start where you are. First of all, my life must be disciplined. The newspapers are constantly saying people must come together and sort out garbage. We don't do that. We read the paper and throw the garbage with the paper. How are we concerned? That's somebody's problem. We live our lives the way we want to live. It's not my problem. You know, they said, there's a story of 4 persons. Everybody, somebody, anybody, nobody. You heard the story? No. See, everybody was given a job to do. everybody thought somebody will do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry because it was everybody's job. But nobody realized everybody will not do it. It ended up that everybody thought somebody will do it. But nobody did what anybody could have done. Everybody thought somebody will do it, but nobody did what anybody could have done. This is why we have garbage in Bangalore. Everybody says somebody's job, it's not my job. And nobody will do it. Though anybody can do it. This is the problem. So if you have an ounce of spirituality in you, do your part. Why do you wait for everybody else to do it? Whatever your argument will be, if I keep everything clean, how does it affect entire Bangalore? But what you don't realize is everybody is saying the same thing. So you don't worry about others, just do your part. Same thing with the study. If I study Bhagavad Gita, how does it help? People are corrupt. There are problems in the world. How does it help if one person studies? If one person tries to do something good, how does it help? Everybody is thinking the same way, therefore we are where we are. So each one to himself, to herself, start thinking, what is possible for me to do? How do I discipline myself? How can I better myself? No, but all these years I have been indisciplined. So, continue indiscipline. Someday you have to wake up. And nobody is preventing you. The whole problem with leading a sensible life is it needs effort. That's the problem. You would do anything if it doesn't need effort. Sit in front of the television. No effort. And what happens is, if you have a family, Indian family, the wife will bring you the food. Short of feeding you, everything is done. Aram se, no effort. And the lady of the house works, and then she wants to go to mother's house. Why? At least there I don't have to do anything. That is why you're going to the mother's house. No other reason. Not that you care for the mother. At least you will be taken care of. So everybody is looking for doing nothing. In such a circumstance, how can you progress? How can you live the life of a human? A human being should be bubbling with energy. There's so much to achieve in life. So you got to commit to yourself. You may not understand what is the ultimate mission in life. You may not understand that. So you can't fix a goal. But surely you can understand how to be a better human. How to discipline myself. Ever so little, let me do it. That commitment, this is what we call Shraddha. You got to start from that. And slowly it unfolds itself, the whole spiritual path. So here, as in the background of Arjuna, you find that he is appealing to Krishna because he has a problem. He is facing a challenge which he is unable to tackle. So he is taking the help of a giant intellect to help him tackle that problem. And in his enthusiasm to learn, he oversteps himself. That is why he asks for the cosmic form. Meaning, he wants to become a millionaire in one day. Now, how do you do that? You got to first of all clear all your debts, as I explained, and then slowly keep on putting effort till you get there. It's possible. But you can't get it overnight. But in his enthusiasm, he asks for the cosmic form, and you see how he's going to be reacting. And that's what happens to some of us. We are so enthusiastic, we want to achieve things overnight. Like he says, you can't become a Christ overnight. It takes effort. So let us start putting in effort, unlike what happens to Arjuna, as we will see in the 11th verse now.
Divyamalyam haradharam divyagandhanulepanam sarvascharyamayam devam anantam vishwatomukham.
Wearing divine garlands and apparel, anointed with divine scents and unguents, full of all wonders, resplendent, endless, with face on all sides. Now you see, here again is Arjuna's mental image. Remember we said an artist imagines a place and draws, paints. It is such a beautiful visualization. It's a mental image which he expresses. And you can't go there and ask the artist, where do I find this place? It's a visualization. It's not a perception. He's not seen the Taj Mahal and replicated it, and he's not presented it. That would be a perception that he brings about in his art. But he just visualizes something beautiful and puts it on paper. Similarly here, Arjuna has a mental image. It is not something that he is perceiving, seeing, like you are seeing now. There's a form. That's not what he's saying. So he describes in extraordinary terms. He says, wearing divine garlands, malyani, ambarani, clothes, divine clothes, and the gandha, the fragrances are all divine. And then he says, antaha, there is anantaha. Anantaha means limitless. It's full of wonders, boundless. Now, if you are carefully following, see, you get away because you're not following. And I understand that. I can go on rattling things, you will simply accept. If you are following, see, what must strike you is, when he talks about the cosmic form, a form by definition has a limit. Just as you have a form, there is a limitation. There are places where you are not. So where you are not, that limits your form. Any form has a limit. If I say, here is a timepiece, it has a form, because beyond the timepiece, there is something else. Beyond the limitation of the form, there's something else. So a form means there is something beyond it, something other than it. So he says, this divine form, he refers to the divine form, and then he says it's endless. Contradiction in terms. Whatever is all-pervading, endless, does not have limitation. Therefore, it cannot have a form. But why we are accepting it is because we give poetic license. See, here is a person who has a vision and is describing the vision, is struggling to give us the description. Therefore, it is permitted. But we don't take it literally. You cannot take it literally. So, and some people actually draw pictures of Vishwarupa. And you see it, this must be the form that Arjuna saw. It is just a mental visualization, not a perception for you to see with these eyes. First of all, you got to have the divine eye. You don't have that. And then you see some painting of Vishwarupa. I have it at home. It has no meaning. So he says, with face on all sides, Vishwato Mukham, all-pervading, Ananta, limitless, boundless. Therefore, it cannot have a defined form. Yet, he describes it as a cosmic form. See, when you say, all right, why is he putting it in such a confusing manner? Let him decide, is it form or no form? Why does Vyasa say there's a cosmic form and then say it is boundless? Ascharyam. Can't understand. It baffles you. See, even in science, now this is transcendental, something beyond our cognition. Even in the worldly knowledge, there are so many areas that give us the same feeling. Does anybody know the definition? What is a straight line? How do you define a straight line? It's science. We have it here. A straight line is the arc of a circle whose radius is infinite. A straight line. Okay, today at least learn one thing. What did you learn in Vishwarupa Darshana? Go and show off at home. Straight line. You know the definition of straight line? Now you learn it. A straight line is the arc of a circle whose radius is infinite. See, this is a straight line. So, here we are showing it a little arc, just for you to picture it. See, how can a straight line be an arc? He says, a straight line is the arc of a circle whose radius is infinite. Please go and check it. Google it, if you don't believe me. Now, how do you capture this concept? It's Ascharyam. It's amazing. So, even in the terrestrial world, there are facts that could baffle your understanding. How can the truth be conveyed straight away? It is something beyond our comprehension. So, then what do? You will have to just cooperate and try and project what the truth might be. That's as far as we can go. So the more you expand your understanding, the more you can accommodate this understanding of what the truth might be. And in a practical sense, how does this visualization, how does this projection help you in your day-to-day life? Okay, I listen to this for 1.5 hours, but I go right back to my home and have to face the problems that I have to face. I wake up in the morning, I have to face my own challenges. So what does this piece of knowledge do? How does it help me? First of all, it helps you because you're getting to the truth of life. That itself should convince you. But if you're still not convinced, in a practical sense, when you move to something higher, a higher understanding, then to that extent you are free from the clutches of the lower, practically speaking. See, if we stay in the lower level, everything affects us. The good and the bad, the right and the wrong, which all is happening around us. But when you pitch yourself to something higher, when you move to a higher understanding of life, then you grow in stature, you grow in maturity. By that maturity, you are able to tackle whatever you are dealing with better efficiency. That is the logic of learning some higher values of life, even though you have not understood it fully. Like the basket. Keep going back to that river. You're cleansing your personality. You've got getting rid of your agitations. And the more you are rid of your agitations, the better you will be able to tackle your own life. Next verse.
Devi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavedyugapaduthita Yadi Bhasadrishi Sa Syat Bhasastasya Mahatmanah.
If 1,000 suns were to arise all together in the sky, that splendor would be the splendor of that exalted being. Now this is poetry. You've got to be patient. And this is what you're going to be listening to throughout the chapter. But we will, like we said yesterday, we have to try and get a message out of every verse. That's what we are going to be attempting. So he says, Suryanam Sahasrasya. This form, he says, resembles the splendor of 1,000 suns. Remember we said yesterday, to see one sun, you can't see the sun directly. Just one sun. You stand under the sun and try and look at it. Don't do that, because it's not good for your eye. One sun, the splendor you can't take. What are we talking about? 1,000 suns. It's very easy to give a figure. Now, what is he trying to tell us? It is something that cannot compare with all your experiences in this world. No, it's incomparable. It's supernatural, as it were, this vision. So, also he's trying to tell us, look, that reality is beyond human perception. Your ordinary experiences. What are your experiences? You can go through physical experiences, perceptions. You can feel emotions. You can think with your thoughts, ideas. These are basically all your experiences, can be put into these three categories, nothing more. You perceive the world and act in this world with your physical body. With your mind, you feel emotions, good or bad, joy or sorrow, but that's what the mind goes through, experiences. And with your intellect, you are dealing with ideas, ideologies, thoughts. This is what is going on at the intellectual level. So these sum up all your experiences, nothing more than that. He says, this truth, this reality, this state of spiritual enlightenment cannot be equated to any of your experiences, just as for a dreamer, as long as you're dreaming, how can you convey to the dreamer that he is not what he's imagining himself to be at that point? See, when we say that, a dreamer could be going through some terrible experience, that he has got a terminal disease and he has got only a few months left to live. Where? In the dream. Okay? And that is you sleeping in an air-conditioned room with 2 blankets, having eaten a full meal. This is what is happening actually. You are sleeping in your room, but the dream is you've got a terminal disease, you're in ICU, all the tubes are running all over the place, nasal feeding is going on, you've eaten a full meal. How to convey to the dreamer, why are you going through this suffering? In fact, you are having a bad dream because you overate. That is why you're tossing in bed. Get up and take some Digene, maybe you'll sleep better. How to convey to this dreamer that what he is going through is something imaginary. He is not suffering. He is not going through a terminal disease. He is comfortably sleeping in his room. It's impossible. So, with all his equipments in the dream, the body is going through pain. Mind is going through sorrow. His intellect understands he's got a terminal disease. With all those equipments, he can never understand he's awake, sleeping comfortably in his room. 2 different experiences. Similarly, friends, we are in this world right now, awake. I hope. Because backbenchers are worried. Here it's too loud, you have to be awake. So we are all in the waking state of consciousness now. And we are going through this experience called the world, life. And we believe this is it. My bank balance is low. I've got so many commitments. The bills are going high. Income is going down, as it were. You've got all sorts of issues. I can't sleep in peace. I've got so many commitments. Then I've also got these additional issues with my health now. All these days I had the strength to look after my family. Now, as I'm growing older, I seem to be losing it. My family is dependent on me. What do I do? Worry, 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 worry. It's so real. How can you understand that the state of enlightenment, which is your original state, is like the 1,000 suns? It's resplendent. Not possible. So he's saying, if 1,000 suns were to arise all together in the sky, that splendor would be the splendor of that exalted being. And where is this exalted being? Anybody? Not understood. It is you. You are that exalted being. Now imagining yourself to be a restricted, constricted human being going through joys and sorrows, worries and anxieties. Hanta, hanta. That's what the Upanishads say. Alas, alas, what have we made of ourselves? The Upanishad says, Iha chet avedidata satyamasti. Nachet iha vedin mahati vinashti. Says, if you understand this truth and live a life that will take you to your own being, satyam asti. You are leading a life of satyam, truth, honesty. If you do not understand this purpose of life and do whatever else you're doing, he says, it is mahati vinashtihi. Nashti is loss. Vinashti is supreme-most loss, the greatest loss. Vinashti. He doesn't stop at that. Mahati vinashti. You can't translate it because it's double superlative, wrong language. Like Shakespeare says, it's the most unkindest cut of all. And Mark Antony's speech. This is the most unkindest cut of all. Wrong English. Most unkindest. You can say unkindest or most unkind. But to say most unkindest, double superlative, is granted to Shakespeare. This is called poetic license. They're allowed. Because he has to show that extreme emotion. He has to express it. Similarly, he says, in the Upanishad says, Mahati vinashtihi. Supreme, most of supreme losses. Who's going through? Still we're not getting it. Every human being. And how happy we are. No problem. It's the slum dwellers. No problem. We got acclimatized. We got used to this life. We don't know there is something higher. That is why you got to get a taste of higher life. You can never settle for what this world offers you. Today we are so enamored. Name, fame, power, position, recognition. I got an award. For what? Because I did good work. You need an award for that? You better do good work. And we will spend thousands and lakhs just to have an award ceremony. Who is giving the award? Who is receiving the award? For what purpose? Just to lead a normal life? It's become so rare to be a normal human being. That is why we need awards. There's no need. You got the award to be a good husband. I've never beaten my wife. It will come to that. Here is the good, best husband in the city. Why? He's never beaten his wife. Life will become like that. What is there? What is there to give an award for that? You better not beat the wife. So, we don't understand what is the loss that we are going through. If only we understand, we would make our way towards who we essentially are.
Tatraikastham jagat kritsnam pravibhaktam apashyad deva devasya Sharire Pandavastada.
There in the body of the God of gods, Pandava then saw the whole world with its manifold divisions resting in one. So Sanjaya is still reporting what Arjuna is going through. Let's not forget the context. From the 9th verse, Sanjaya has been talking. Sanjaya is the counselor of Dhritarashtra, the blind king, Kaurava king. So he was reporting to Dhritarashtra what was happening in Kurukshetra, the war between Pandavas and the Kauravas. So here he's saying, there in the body of the God of gods, see there's a capital G, and there is a smaller g for the gods, plural, meaning there is one God, meaning that truth, that reality is given a name, God. We don't know. That unknown truth, the unknown reality is given a name. God is just another name. But we don't know what is this truth, what is the reality. That can be known only when you move from where you are in this plane of consciousness, the waking state of consciousness, and gain enlightenment, which is referred to as Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness. We don't know that. So until then, we will remain ignorant of this primary source of everything that we see. A name given is God. He says, the God of gods. Now, who are the gods then? There is another book here. If those who are interested should take it up. It's called The Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. Now, written by Swamiji again. He explains what is the significance of the gods and goddesses. They are in plural. There are many gods and goddesses. So some people get so confused because they don't know whom to worship. Which God do I worship? My mother-in-law worships so-and-so. My father-in-law worships so. My mother worships so-and-so. So they're so confused. Some of the puja rooms, if you go, from one end to the other end, they've got pictures of gods. And also they're worried, if I pray to one God, the other God will get angry. So better to pray all of them. They have genuine problems. They say how to place the pictures. If I put one on top of the other, that God will get angry. Why did you put me down? So then we will be denied something. So there is a tension in the puja room also. Where will you find peace? I don't know. And temple, if you go to one temple, you're worried, better go to the other temple also, because if I have presents, I have to give my presents to God. I've come and seen you, I've given 2 coconuts, please God, save me. We have no concept. Why are there so many gods and goddesses, which I can't get into, but it's explained in the book. To put it simply, they only represent limited ideals and goals, which is a fact. So if you are wanting knowledge, who would you worship? Huh? Saraswati. If you want wealth, who do you worship? Lakshmi. If you want success, Ganesha. Before you start to have anything, Pulyar. You must keep Ganesha first, then it will be successful. These are limited ideals and goals. They represent it. But he says, what he saw is the God of gods. What is the source of all these limited ideals and goals? Is that one ultimate reality, that one ultimate goal, which is the self in you, the reality in you. In the body of the God of gods, Pandava then saw the whole world with its manifold divisions resting in one.
Tatassa vismaya vishtaha hrishtaro madhananjayaha pranamya shirasa devam kritanjalirabhashata.
Then he, Dhananjaya, struck with wonder, horripilating, bowing his head to the god, spoke with joined palms. So now Sanjaya is concluding. He's saying, this is what I see. Arjuna is trembling in front of that huge cosmic form. He says, struck with wonder. He has no words to express what he's experiencing. Bowing his head to the god, bowing down in humility, spoke with joined palms. So on seeing whatever he saw, that vision, which is beyond his capacity. It's something almost shocking for him, something he can't take. See, when you take a little child to an exhibition, let's say, as long as the child is in the car, the child is very happy. We are going to the exhibition, we are going here, jumping. But the moment she steps out and sees the whole place, it's so huge, she will come and stand next to the mother and hold the hand tight. Why? The whole thing is too much for her to handle. It's beyond her capacity. So they need a little support because they are afraid of something that they don't know. They're not comfortable. Similarly, 100 times more exaggerated, perhaps, is what Arjuna is going through. It baffles his understanding. So he's humbled, he's subdued, he bows his head down and spoke with joined palms. Next verse.
Arjuna uvacha pashyami devamstava devadehe sarvamstatha bhuta vishesha sanghan brahmanamisham kamalasanastham rishimsha sarvanuragamsha divyan.
Arjuna said, O God, I see in your body all the gods and hosts of various beings. Brahma, the Lord based on the lotus seat, and all sages and divine serpents. So now Arjuna is trying to express what he is going through, what he is experiencing. So what does he say? His first reaction to the cosmic form. Until now, Sanjaya was reporting. Now his first reaction. He says, I see in your body, in that form, all the gods, which we have already seen, the various limited goals and ideals. This is for an intellectual. A devotee will say, all the gods are there, like in my puja room. Everybody is in that form. A devoted person will look at it in that manner. But an intellectual will say, what is he trying to say? It's just everything that you can possibly conceive of with regard to the world is there in one entity. And hosts of various beings, all sorts of life forms. Brahma, the creator, who's responsible, the origin, as it were, of this world, the creator of the beings. Beings are the created. So who is responsible for the creation? Is Lord Brahma, who represents creation, the creator. Now what is the origin of the creator? He says, based on the lotus seat. The lotus seat represents the truth, the reality. That is why you will find lots of gods and goddesses. Many of them are presented sitting on a lotus. Because lotus represents peace, happiness, which is your original state. And that is the state, supreme bliss, is the state of enlightenment. Now we are going through phases of false happiness. We are also going through happiness, but what sort of happiness do you go through? It's all limited. It has a beginning, it has an end. It doesn't last. Oh, I married the best person in this world. How long does it last? Until you're married. Once you're married, it changes. You say, no, this is not the person I met. Something has happened to that person. From an angel, she's become a devil. You did not have eyes to see. Divya Drashti you did not have. This divine Drashti. It opened up the third eye after marriage. Now you started seeing things. Vishwarupa Darshana. You're seeing at home. So you are not able to understand how these things happen. You are going through this happiness, but it is limited. This is a state of supreme bliss, supreme happiness, which is your original state. So what you are going through is not your original state. And that lotus represents the truth, the reality. Brahma rests, meaning the origin of Lord Brahma, the creator, is the truth. And the created beings come out of Lord Brahma, who is responsible for creation. And then he indicates the three categories of beings. He says Devan, gods, meaning the selfless individuals, people who are highly evolved, short of realization. That is the highest form that you can possibly meet of people. Fine human beings. Rare, but they are there. This is one category. Then when selfishness picks up, you become an unselfish person. The unselfish person is represented by the word Rishim. Rishim means sages. And then selfish are the common people, meaning people who are thinking about themselves. And you will justify, what else can I do? I have to think about myself. So, because you don't have a higher understanding. So these he refers to as uragan, serpents, but calls it divine serpents because divinity is that which is in and through all types of human beings. Every human being, everything in this world is essentially divine, no matter what it appears to be, just as. Even the worst of people in the dream is nothing but your own mind. The best of people in your dream is your own mind. From your own mind came out the best and the worst. It is that one mind that projects everything. Similarly, whether it's the gods, sages, or serpents, they're all divine. This is what Arjuna is seeing and experiencing.
अनेकबाहूदरवक्त्रनेत्रम् पश्यामि त्वां सर्वतोऽनन्तरूपम् नान्तं न मध्यं न पुनस्तवादिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्वर विश्वरूप.
I see you in endless form everywhere with manifold arms, stomachs, mouths, and eyes. Neither your end nor middle, nor also your beginning do I see, O Lord of the universe, O universal form. See, you will find here is a contradiction in terms. There's a lot of contradiction. He says, I see the endless form. Once again, I've told you, form means it is defined. He says endless form is a contradiction in terms. Once again, he's struggling to describe what he is visualizing. So, again, it is permitted because it is suggestive. You can't define the truth. You can't define the reality. It's not possible. You can only suggest what the truth might be. And then you have to realize it for yourself. See, sometimes in the broad daylight, you see a line of the moon in the sky. Now you have seen it and you want your friend to see it. It's impossible to convey. Because you see that line, thin line on the right, he's actually seeing the left. Where? There. Both of you are saying, he can't. See na, right. He can't see. That he's seeing something wrong. It's not the moon. And there is nothing with reference to which you can point out that moon. But you want him to see. Can you see moon in daylight? Have you seen? You want him to see it. So you draw his attention to the meadows close by. There's some open land close by. Then you see that tree. You take his attention to the tree on that open land. He says, yeah, I see the tree. Yes, I see the tree. Follow the tree on the right. Simply looking in the sky and saying it's not there. Look at that tree. Okay, he looks at the tree and see that right branch that is going off completely from the tree. That single branch that you see. Yes, I see that. Then there is that last bit right on top. You find two big leaves are there. Yes, I see those two big leaves. They are fluttering. Can you see? Not the other leaves, the ones on top. Yes, I see on top. Now look between those two leaves. Finally you saw it. Now friends, what you need to understand is all this that he's used, that open land, that tree that he pointed out, that leaves that he pointed out, have nothing to do with the moon. No connection. Where is the moon? Where are these things? Nowhere connected. But without these props, he could have never located the moon. Not possible, though there's no connection. So Arjuna is saying so many things. You can't define the reality, but he's only giving suggestions, 2 leaves. Beyond that, you got to project the truth. That's the only thing we can do. That's why I said you got to be patient. He said, I see you in endless form everywhere with manifold arms. Manifold arms represent activity. Lot of activity going on in this world. You got to see through that activity. But you get caught up in the activity. Forget the truth. Then he says, manifold stomachs. Stomachs is the ability to digest these experiences. You are digesting so many experiences. There's enormous capacity. I see all that happening, all sorts of experiences, good and bad. You have to digest them. You have to go through them. Then he says, mouths and eyes, the ability to receive the world. These are the ways by which you can receive the world. So there is a lot of potency. The truth is omnipotent. That omnipotent aspect of the reality he's expressing with these words. He says arms, stomachs, mouths, eyes is just the potential of work or activity in various ways. I see that. And then he says there is no beginning, no middle or end because it's infinite. The omnipresence of the truth he sees. And then Ananta Rupam Sarvataha, the endless form everywhere. So here he says, Vishveshwara, you are transcendent. You are beyond everything. Vishwarupa, you are also eminent. You are everywhere in this world and beyond. So once again, these are suggestions that you could use to project what the truth might be.
किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रिणं च तेजोराशिं सर्वतो दीप्तिमन्तं पश्यामि त्वां दुर्निरीक्ष्यं समन्तात् दीप्तानलार्कद्युतिमप्रमेयम्.
I see you with diadem, mace and discus, a mass of radiance, shining everywhere, hard to look at, shining all around like the glorious fire and sun, immeasurable. Arjuna is describing the cosmic form. So he sees the great Vishnu. He says with diadem, the crown. Crown represents lordship, sovereignty, that which commands, maintains, protects everything, like a king. And then he talks about the mace and discus. Now, this whole world is nothing but a representation of creation, maintenance, destruction. You already saw that yesterday. Every aspect of the world. So, Brahma, Lord Brahma represents creation, the creator. So, who is maintaining this world? Vishnu. And this is what he's saying. Because Krishna is another incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He's seeing the form of Vishnu here. He says there is this mace and discus. You know, Vishnu, Lord Vishnu has Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma. These are the 4 aspects of what he carries. Now, Padma again represents the truth, the reality. You are supposed to find your way to the truth, the reality. Vishnu only tells you these are the different things that you can do in your life. You can go straight to the Padma, lotus. If you choose not to go to the Padma and do whatever else you want, there is a conch, a call that says, what am I doing? Should I not find out what life is all about? Sometime in life it comes and hits you. What is life? What am I here for? Where have I come from? Where am I going? That is that conch. A call from within urging you to investigate what is this truth. If you ignore the conch and say, I've got my duties and obligations, let me wait till retirement. That's why you'll find average age in spiritual lectures is 60, 65. Because everything is done now. What else? Now we'll try to see the truth. So the call comes very late, if at all. But others what are they doing? They are busy with this world. They are not listening to that conch. Then what happens? Gadha. You get the knocks and shocks of life. One challenge here, somebody lets you down, somebody walked away from you, somebody hurt you, this thing happened, financial crisis, health crisis, all sorts of things. That is when we turn to God. Oh God, 6 weeks I will come. I will break 100 coconuts. Please give my health back to me. In times of joy, you don't think of God. Birthday party, why God? Waste of time. Only when I'm ill, I will read the Bhagavad Gita. Actually, some people say when there is a death in the family, that's when they play Bhagavad Gita verses. It's the worst thing to do. Play it in a birthday party. No, birthday party is nice music, not Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, birthday party don't go together. But anybody dies, then you put Bhagavad Gita. This is what people are doing. I can understand. You play the Bhagavad Gita if you're doing it for the birthday party, wedding, everything. No light music, no cinema music, only Bhagavad Gita throughout the wedding. Who will do it? Nobody will do. Even classical music we don't want. Time was when the kacheris were held in the weddings. Today they don't know. Kachori they will eat. Kacheri they don't know. What is kacheri? Nobody will come. Nobody will listen. Divine music. No. So, if you don't heed the mace, even after getting knocks and shocks, you believe you're arrogant to say, that's my bad luck. I'll try my luck again. He says, chakra, you will be annihilated. Annihilated means you will be a wreck, mental and physical wreck. Your health will go, physical and mental health. You can't be a happy person after that. So he sees that call of Vishnu, as it were, and shining everywhere, hard to look at. Like the glorious fire and sun, immeasurable. He continues.
Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam Tvamasya vishwasya param nidhanam Tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta Sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
I consider you to be the imperishable, supreme to be known, you to be the ultimate abode of this universe, you to be the immutable protector of eternal dharma, laws, you to be the ancient Purusha. So here Arjuna continues giving glorious epithets. Epithets are descriptive phrases, words. You use words to describe something. So here he says aksharam. Aksharam meaning imperishable, as different from what is perishable. The universe has a beginning and an end, it is perishable. Form has a substance, it is perishable. But the truth is not made up of a substance. It does not have a beginning or end. So imperishable. Paramam, supreme. Divinity, the ultimate reality. The absolute truth, which is beyond the terrestrial experiences. Paramam, supreme. Veditavyam, to be known. Because we don't know it. What is known? The body, mind and intellect, this personality is known. The world of objects, emotions and thoughts is known. But this is Veditavyam, has to be known. Why? Today it is unknown. This is your mission in life, to know, to investigate the truth. Vishwasya param nidhanam. This is the abode of the universe, just as the abode of waves is the ocean. The abode of all gold ornaments is gold. Ornaments can have any name, any shape, any form, any color, but it is gold and gold alone. That is the abode of all ornaments. Similarly, there is this world of things and beings, so many different types of things, so many different types of beings. But what is that one abode for all this heterogeneous variety that you are experiencing in this world? The truth, the reality. Vishwasya param nidhanam avyaya shashvatasya dharmasya gopta. Immutable protector of all laws. See, there's so many laws functioning in the world. Just now there are laws functioning. You're sitting here is a law. What law? The law of gravitation. If there is no law of gravitation, you cannot be sitting. You'll be floating everywhere. All of us will be floating everywhere. You won't know where the speaker is. Suddenly in the midst of the audience, the speaker will come out. We'll be floating. You are sitting here, you are blissfully unaware that a law is functioning. The law of gravitation keeps you in your seat. Similarly, you're seeing. It's a law functioning. You're hearing. Law is functioning. There are millions and millions and infinite number of laws. Who is maintaining it? Every morning the sun rises and sets every evening. Who is maintaining it? Law is functioning. Water boils at a particular temperature. Not 1 degree more, not 1 degree less. Who is maintaining that temperature? You maintain a physical temperature. Who is maintaining it? Don't know. Innumerable laws. He says you are that immutable protector of eternal dharma, eternal laws. They were there in the past. These laws are there now and will continue in the future. You are that ancient Purusha. Ancient, when we say, it is even before time. What is the unit of time? You don't know the unit of time? Huh? Second. See, I keep asking you questions because sometimes you're looking so straight at me. I feel you've not understood anything. So now and then I need an assurance you're here. That's why I ask. I know you know it. So the unit of time is not first. Why is it second? Very interesting. See, time is a measurement between two experiences. Just as distance is a measurement between 2 points. If you ask, what is the distance? From where you'll ask? You can't ask, what is the distance here? You need 2 points to measure distance. So distance is the interval between 2 points. Time is the measurement between 2 experiences. So the measurement of time started at the second experience. That is why the unit of time is second. But who existed in the first experience? Sanatana Purushaha. Even before time, the truth existed. So this is how you got to project what this truth might be. Next verse.
अनादिमध्यान्तमनन्तवीर्यम् अनन्तबाहुं शशिसूर्यनेत्रम् पश्यामि त्वां दीप्तहुताशवक्त्रम् स्वतेजसा विश्वमिदं तपन्तम्.
I see you without beginning, middle or end, infinite in power, with endless arms, the sun and moon as your eyes, shining fire as mouth, heating this universe with your radiance. Now, na adihi madhyam antaha yasyatam. No beginning, meaning there's no birth, no growth. When there's no birth, there is no growth, there is no disease, there is no decay, there is no death. So this truth is beyond these changes. There is no beginning. If a child is born, then you are in middle age, then there is old age and death. There is no such thing. It is eternal truth. The truth always exists, omnipresent at all periods of time. This truth existed in the past as far as you can go back to the past. It exists now while you are here, you are experiencing it, and it will continue to exist in the future. It is eternal. Ananta viryam yasyatam, infinite power, unlimited prowess, strength, energy. The sun is going on giving energy. But they predict that sometime it will all end and everything will come to a standstill. But this form of energy continues. It can never die. It can never end. It's infinite power. Ananta bahavaha yasyatam. Endless arms, dynamic activities are going on, achievements. It is omnipotent. A lot of power. And then he says, the sun and moon are your eyes. Now this is how they picture the cosmic form. One eye is sun, one eye is moon. It's ghastly. You can't even look at it. Now again, it's symbolic. See, what he's saying is the sun and moon is the entire light energy. Direct light, indirect light. Sun is direct light, moon is indirect light. So entire light energy. And why does he connect it to the eye? Why does he say it is your eye? Your eyes are the sun and moon. Because light has no existence without the eye. See, if you're blind, you don't see light. So, without the instrument of cognition, which is the eye, light has no meaning. So, that in the principle of light complements the principle of vision. Therefore, sun and moon are the eyes. Similarly, fire is associated with the mouth, the instrument of speech and taste. That's the mouth. So, even food, if it is frozen, you can't eat. You will, even if you've kept it in the fridge for 1 week, especially abroad, they keep the food for 1 week, 2 weeks. One rasam is made and kept. What do they do? Reheat and reheat and reheat. That's all they do. You have to reheat. Otherwise, there's no taste. Frozen food, there's no taste. So, even if you say, no, but ice cream has taste, you warm it in your mouth. You get it cold, make it warm in your mouth, then swallow it. So, food, the taste is associated with heat. The instrument of speech and speech also. You say he had hot words. It's a fiery speech. Is associated with speech, heat. So, the principle of heat complements speech and taste. That is why he associates the shining fire as mouth. And then he says, heating this universe with your radiance means that conscious principle lends life to everything in this world. It illumines everything, that which enables you to see, that which enables you to hear, that which enables the sun to rise every morning and set every evening, that which enables a plant to grow, that which enables a worm in a gutter to live. He says, heating this universe with your radiance.
द्यावा पृथिव्योरिदमन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन्.
Heaven and earth, this interspace and all the quarters are indeed pervaded by you alone. Having seen this marvelous and awful form of yours, the triple world trembles, O Mahatman. Now, when Arjuna is saying the triple world trembles, he is only projecting his own feelings. It's not the world that is trembling, he is trembling. So every aspect of him, the physical, emotional, intellectual, you can take that. Or you can take every trembles in the sense is obedient, is subject to what? Some higher power. Everything is subject to some higher power. And why does he say tremble? It represents fear because of disparity. See, a small creature will fear a large creature. This is natural because of disparity. So here is a person of a finite stature afraid of something infinite stature. There's a disparity. Also, when you are spiritually developed, you are moving towards the truth, you don't fear. When you move away from the truth, away from the reality, there is fear. See, a dishonest person has fear. An honest person has no fear. Anything that is going towards the truth, there is no fear. So if anybody has fear, you must understand what is happening. Maybe you are moving away from what you ought to be, moving towards something higher. So he says, having seen this marvelous and awful form, there is everything is trembling. Meaning, when in the presence of something powerful, you are very alert. It's a natural tendency, nothing abnormal. So Aristotle, he has a great thought to convey to us. He says, I have gained this by philosophy, great Greek philosopher, that I do without being commanded what others do from fear of the law. Aristotle. I have gained this by philosophy. There you are. I gained this from philosophy, that I do without being commanded what others do, only from fear of the law. See, why do you are afraid that the doctor will say you're diabetic. You're afraid of that. Therefore, you try to discipline yourself. Why don't you do without being commanded? Why do you need a doctor to tell you? Why don't you understand? Look, I have a tendency to be diabetic. I should take care of my health. Or my finances are going down. The bank tells you, look, you cannot come again here. You cannot withdraw money. Why do you have to be told? Why don't you understand? Of fear of the law you act. It's a terrible feeling. All the time you have that fear in acting. Instead of having fear, why don't you lead a right royal life of honesty and truth? There's a beautiful poem, The Pineapple and the Bee. The poet says, but they who truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. If you lead a life of satyam, you can get happiness from any situation. But if you don't lead a life of satyam, even if you're placed in the best, you are miserable. You suffer. Like an article in England newspaper had a heading. I'm only telling you the heading. It read, are you miserable? Are you bored? You must be rich. You are rich, but miserable and bored. Why? Because this quality of satyam is not there. So you've got to learn to lead that life, to live what you ought to do, not out of fear of doing it. Last verse, please.
अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचिद् भीताः प्राञ्जलयो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षिर्सिद्धसङ्घाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः.
Verily into you enter these hosts of gods, some in fright extol you with joined palms, may it be well. Thus saying, bands of great sages and siddhas, perfected ones, praise you with beautiful hymns. See, there he's giving two categories of people. That's all he's saying. He says, the cosmic form, they have different reactions. If a person's attention is extrovert, if your interest is in the world of materiality, sensuality, you just want to live and enjoy life, nothing else, then there's a lot of fear because you don't know if you will get what you want. And even if you get what you want, you still have fear because you're worried you lose what you have. So either way you suffer. Though you have everything, there's hardly an enjoyment. It's interrupted, interspersed with sorrow and suffering, even if you have what you call the best of the world. Why? Because your attention is extrovert. So he says, there is fright in such people, there is fear in such people. Then he says, there are bands of great sages and siddhas, those who are introverts, who have turned inward. Their attention is not on the extrovert world, but on perfecting themselves. You remember how we started today? Even if you can't think of the ultimate state of realization, surely you can think of becoming a better human. That much you can do. And becoming a better human is not changing the world, but changing yourself for the better. So such people who have mastered that, the great sages, the siddhas, perfected ones, they are the introverts. They gain higher knowledge. They have the greatest praise for the same cosmic form. So one set of people are afraid of God because they are worried what will he do to them. Why? Because they are only interested in acquisition, enjoyment. That's all. My life is what? I must acquire, and enjoy. Nothing else. So you are afraid God will take it away from you. So you go on going to the temples, you do all the pujas and the rituals and everything possible you want to do to please him, not to disturb you from acquisition and enjoyment. Yet you don't. And those who have turned introvert, who gain higher values of life, they too live in this world. They have the highest praise for this knowledge. They have perfected themselves, and by that perfection, they are able to find honey in a weed. They can get the best of experiences in the worst of circumstances. You can be rich or poor, you can have all the facilities or not, but it will not change your life at all. That is why the life of Lord Rama in the Ramayana, he was in the palace enjoying all the benefits of a palace, the highest form of living. And next he was on exile in the jungle, no difference, perfectly enjoying his life with nothing. That is the life of Rama. So deliberately it is put in a way for us to understand whether you are in a palace or a jungle, as long as you have higher values, you will enjoy everything that you meet. And that is the capacity of any human being. You're not asked what is your background. You're not asked what you have learned so far. You're not asked your past. Nothing. If anybody in this classroom or anywhere in the world is prepared to turn introvert and gain that knowledge, that person will be capable of leading such a life. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Swami A. Parthasarathy has written 12 books that provide a comprehensive manual for life. These include Swamiji's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. To begin a structured study of Vedanta, Swamiji recommends reading the following 4 books in this order: The Fall of the Human Intellect, Governing Business and Relationships, The Holocaust of Attachment, and Vedanta Treatise, The Eternities. All of Swamiji's 12 books have recently been combined into a single volume entitled The Complete Works of A. Parthasarathy. This second edition is now available on the link below. You can order your books at vedanta.org.uk/books or scan the QR code. All links are listed below. Join us tomorrow for day 3 of the lecture series on Wednesday, 11th October at 7 p.m. UK time. Thank you.